Herzlich willkommen, Sianamgela, and welcome to the Bundesliga Connection with Chris Harrington on the SL Podcast in partnership with DW Berlin.
It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga, and more. For that, we're joined by Chris Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Chris, Bayern wasted no time in appointing Thomas Tuchel to replace the fired Julian Nagelsmann. No one expected Nagelsmann firing.
Exactly right. Kind of occurred like a thief in the night. Nagelsmann, when you look at the record, of course, they're looking up at Borussia Dortmund right now in the standings only by merely a point. But in the Champions League, Nagelsmann, is doing well. They got beyond PSG and Mbappe, and then they have Man City. No one saw this coming. Nagelsmann, a young man taking over a big name in the coaching world. Back in 2021, he cost Bayern a record 25 million euros, the most ever spent on a coach. The expectations were really high, but there are a lot of rumbles going on. The sporting director himself alleged that Nagelsmann had lost the locker room. I had mentioned earlier that a mole had exposed some tactics Nagelsmann wanted to employ, when he saw teams with different sets and so forth. That's another strike. And then, Nagelsmann's personal life also upset the locker room. Those are some of the reports coming out of some of the media. Nagelsmann, reportedly left his wife and is now dating a journalist. That's one reason that the brass at Bayern maybe consider him a distraction. He maybe has gone Hollywood. As those might say. That's actually an old nickname of Bayern Munich, FC Hollywood, thinking you're too big, for the expectations and the game plan in front of you. But in terms of the locker room noise, him losing the locker room, some players say he had done that, Gnabry and Leroy Sané, but other players have recently come out and kind of backing Nagelsmann, saying that's not true, in Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka. So there's a lot there to unpack, but in terms of Thomas Tuchel, he was actually a wanted replacement for Bayern Munich prior to Julian Nagelsmann coming over at Bayern Munich, but it didn't work out. Tuchel, obviously, at PSG. That was one reason that Bayern said they went with Tuchel. They credited his work at Paris Saint-Germain, but obviously he butted heads with players as well as management there as well. But it comes down to Nagelsmann in a phone call to the sporting director in brass, a short phone call that ended in his exit, and now he's going to look for a new job.
Thomas Tuchel also has a history of butting heads with club hierarchy. Do you see him making an immediate impact?
Well, he'll definitely have the pressure on his shoulders. His first debut is what they call Der Klassiker here in Germany. It's Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, arguably the most competitive, the most watched fixture in all of the Bundesliga. Thomas Tuchel, a former coach at Borussia Dortmund, so there's that bit of history, But in terms of him butting heads, Thomas Tuchel butted heads at Dortmund. That's why he was no longer there. He butted heads at Chelsea. That's why he's no longer there. And if you listen to some players, he's butted heads with them. Christian Pulisic, a current player at Chelsea, feels like Thomas Tuchel can't be trusted. So obviously you can't satisfy everyone. That even goes for a coach, at any time, in every top club, I'd have to say. But in terms of his immediate impact, he's really going to have to pick up 3 points, I think, if he's going to really want to win over, everyone, all of the fan base of Bayern Munich, because everyone was taken by surprise. I mean, they thought Julian Nagelsmann was the guy because Bayern put that record investment behind him. Now that's no longer the case. Right now, Dortmund, as I mentioned earlier, with just 1 point in the standings. Thomas Tuchel will be looking to extend that to 4 points without question, and they're going to have to put up quite the performance because coming off that defeat to Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, can allowing 2 penalties with their new goalkeeper. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done with Thomas Tuchel learning his new team, but we'll have to see. I'm looking forward to the kickoff on Saturday.
Chris, let's talk about Germany here for a second. They made light work of Peru in the first match. Now they face Belgium.
Yeah, I think it's too early to applaud anything Germany's doing. When Hansi Flick first took over Germany, they put up record performances. They had just such a lopsided outcome versus opponents. Now, okay, they won against Peru. I do like the fact that Nicholas Füllkrug netted a brace. He was a late addition to the World Cup club in Qatar. So that is a step in the right direction because he seems to be a clear striker, a piece that Germany has been missing. but it's way too early to tell. They have Belgium. We have to see what happens with that. But Hansi Flick said himself, he's really experimenting right now. He's going to try to allow the dust to settle, his pieces to fall where they may around September time, where he really needs to get in gear for the European Championship, of course, where it's going to kick off right here in Germany. So all eyes will be expecting Hansi Flick to make the best of his extension, because some say he should have been fired after the dismal performance. He's got a lifeline. Let's see what he does with it. But so far, so good with Germany.
Before we let you go, Chris, just like always, what else has hit your radar?
Yeah, just a bit of reality. We always celebrate the players' performance on the pitch. A lot of young men doing great things we can celebrate and so forth, make us feel proud vicariously through their performance. Well, some news from a Bayern player, Alphonso Davies, recently came out, speaking about how the life of a professional footballer is great, but he's left with nothing to do. He calls himself a popular loser. Which is just a reminder. You have to make sure your mental focus, and mental health is looked after, because, these football players follow their dream, one being the young Frankfurt Muani is going to be looking to depart the Bundesliga soon. And you're often left alone, and with your teammate, you go to training, you go home, family's left behind and so forth, so like everyone's human, we always have to look out for our own mental health. And Alphonso Davies, the star that he is, arguably one of the best left backs in the world, still deals with these problems like everyone else. So it's just a nice reminder that he is human after all.
Thank you very much for the Bundesliga update, Mr. Chris Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Have a fantastic day further.
Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen.
The Bundesliga Connection is a team effort driven by the following incredible individuals. The show is hosted by Aidan Hewitt and Chris Harrington. It is produced by Chris Harrington. It is edited by Aidan Hewitt and Uli Presch, and graphics are provided by David Scullard.